and go.
All right.
Hello, everybody. Welcome to this edition of Shelbyville Now Sports Live. I'm David Thomas. I'm with Bill Anderson here today. Kenny Parker could not be with us. He's on his way to Green Bay, Bill.
I think the whole Parker family has gone to Green Bay for 2 football games.
Well, we're going to miss
Thursday.
Yeah, and we're going to miss him today. And we said we weren't going to have his show, but we're just doing it behind his back.
That's right.
Yeah. So maybe he'll while he's driving down the road, somebody will see us on Facebook and they can listen in. If you can, Kenny, just send us a shout on chat or whatever, and we'll try to respond back if you got any words of wisdom to share with us. Bill, it's kind of sad today that we don't have any county teams playing in high school football, but we still have a few local teams. And let's run down what happened last night. I know if you stay in our area, you look at the Lebanon Oakland game. Oakland put it to Lebanon
41-7. And
yeah,
we know how good Lebanon was, we know how good Oakland was, but I think it really shows in the playoff setting. 41-7. I don't see anybody beating Oakland.
Yeah, and then we've got
Coffee County.
Again,
what a great year for them. 35-31. They lost to Blackman, but boy, they gave them a good ball game.
Yeah, that was a good game. They had a great year.
Great year for Coffee County.
So our region is out of it now.
Right.
Fayetteville had a big win last night. They beat Dresden
42-17.
Yeah, and they're still 12-0, and they move on. Marshall County got beat by Lexington last night. Was it 21-14? 21-14. So Marshall County's out.
Giles County had a big win against Loudon.
Yeah.
So Giles County's still moving.
Giles County's still moving. Moore County got put out last night.
Kind of surprised Mount Pleasant. And I know Decatur County over there at Parsons has had a big year, but they beat Mount Pleasant 18-13. That sort of shocked me.
Yeah, I thought Mount Pleasant would keep rolling and go deep.
Too.
I thought they'd go deep into this. But that's about all the local teams around this area that are still alive now. You've got Fayetteville.
Lewis County, Adamsville. 35-7. Okay,
right.
Now Adamsville beat Richland, and we knew Richland was really good.
Right, and then you had Cascade last week give them a game. Could have won the game.
Right.
Had we, I think if we run the ball the whole game, I think we would have been playing there. And I believe Cascade could have beat this Adamsville team. And
I do too, because I'm surprised that they beat Richland, because Richland was really good this year. But Cascade in that game, they don't turn it over. They win the ball game.
Yeah. Yeah, and that's it's disappointing to see Cascade go out last week and then see this Lewis County move like they did here. But Lewis County's got a good team. We wish them well and hope they can keep growing.
Marshall County, tough loss last night to Lexington, 21-14.
Yeah, Lexington's got a good team from what I understand. So that's all of our high school area in the area that we've been talking about all year.
Oh, Beach and Smyrna. I will mention that. Coach Williams' son. I believe Matt's the head coach of Smyrna. They lost 24-7.
Yeah.
To Beach. I think the Beach running back had 29 carries, 260-something yards, and 3 or 4 touchdowns.
Man, Beach.
They always have running backs.
When they're always like winning 8, 9, 10 games a year going to the playoffs. How does a program get to that point to where it's just reload every year?
I think it goes back all the way. That's where Coach Thaxton, if you remember, came from.
Yeah.
And that's where that wing T of Herschel Moore's came from, was all that Beach stuff. And then he went to Cumberland. But that's where it came from. But and the coach was saying on the radio this morning, he actually lost his best tailback in the spring.
Really? So
and just next man up, and
Well, honestly, I look at Central. I look at all the high school teams around here. You got Community and Cascade and Central. I don't know about Webb because they're new and they hadn't got established good yet. But Central's always got 3 or 4 good running backs that can go in at any time. I think we've got talent in this county. It's just a matter of getting some stability. I know Jake's got things going at Cascade. Yeah. Coach Dryden will be going into his 2nd year.
Right.
And we've had 3 coaches at Central in the last 5 years. It makes it difficult to get some momentum. Then you got Community, which they just had some ups and downs. Coach Grooms has been there for, 5, 6 years.
David, the game's changing. We've got all these spreads, and you and I aren't spread guys. But if you could go back to being physical, look at the advantage you've got, because it will come back the other way.
Yeah.
Because everybody's used to playing this rebel 5-5 wide, throw it all over the yard.
Yeah.
If you can get physical, run the football, block, pull, and control the line of scrimmage, old school, and the other team's not ready for it.
I think when you get down to it and you see these teams in the playoffs this deep, you go look at Oakland. All I got to do is line it up and run it down your throat.
Right.
And
if you stack the box on them, they'll take it over the top. And
that's
right. They'll hit you big.
If you play them honest, they're going to kill you with the running
game.
And if you cheat, they're going to burn
They're going to burn you.
That's a balance attack.
That's the balance.
And it doesn't take but 7 to 10 passes of effective passing to win a high school football game if you've got that line just pounding all night. And that's I think the key to our success here in this area, because it shortens the game against some of these high-powered offenses that you see.
And from a blocking standpoint, are you trying to drive? Am I driving you off the football? This is what I'm afraid we run. I see too many teams doing it. We're zone blocking. So all we're doing is I'm trying to keep you off my guy. Mm-hmm. What you need to be doing is I'm trying to take you out and push the line this way.
You got to create a seam for your running backs, and I think that all of our teams' goal is to get stronger and faster every year.
Right.
And I think we saw in the Cascade game last week when we come out in the second half and started this got tight, started pounding. That team got back on their heels and we was gashing them 8-10 yards of play. I think that's proof that style of football will work.
I agree with you.
But anyway, it's sad to see football season in high school coming to a close. So let's change gears now and talk about some college, Bill. But before we do, I want to thank our sponsor today, Winter Circle. It's our flagship sponsor. And
come on,
we have
let's hit up the Christmas gifts.
Well, yeah, we've got
let's hit up the Christmas stuff.
Duke Cannon products is one of the most favorite local selections around. People are coming in every day buying this stuff.
Great stocking stuffer for Christmas.
It's a men's product. And let's pause real quick, Bill, and just get a listen from our sponsor, Duke Cannon.
For a guy who runs hot, it's hard to find relief. Duke Cannon Dry Ice gives you an icy cooling effect that lasts all day without having to do anything crazy. Duke Cannon Dry Ice Cooling Antiperspirant. Crank the cold.
Duke Cannon products are available at the Winter Circle in Shelbyville at 603 Evans Street.
Okay. Thank you to Duke Cannon.
What does it say at the top right there, David? What does it say right there at the top?
Big old brick of soap.
Oh, okay. Just checking.
You don't want to drop that on your toe.
I bet you don't.
No. All right, let's change gears and talk about SEC football. We've got some interesting matchups, and you were talking about one a little bit earlier before we came on the air. Arkansas LSU. It's at Arkansas. LSU coming off a big win. What do you think could possibly happen here?
Well, of course, they got a big veterans thing going on at Arkansas today. I understand the Hog's not going to be on the helmet. It's going to be the American flag.
Okay.
They're going to have a big crowd. As long as the Arkansas quarterback plays, now there was a chance he's not all the way healthy.
Right.
I think LSU, coming off a big emotional high like Alabama, you come walking in here to Arkansas, the line's 3.5. Arkansas could pull this off. And if they did, that was going to put Alabama right back, I believe, in a position.
And they're hungry for a win after getting beat by Liberty. I mean, that's not good for their program. So they're going to come back fired up. They need this win so that they can stay in bowl contention. What's their record now? 4-4.
Oh yeah, like
something like that. Yeah, they're around 500.
You would think LSU is going to win this game quite easily, but the line is 3.5. Yeah. It is on the road. Yeah. The key will be the Arkansas quarterback because he's pretty good. If he doesn't play, LSU will probably mop the floor with him. But I just see that game being an interesting one to watch that could go the other way, a potential upset.
I'm taking LSU, Bill.
I'm gonna take Arkansas.
All right. Arkansas and upset.
Arkansas the upset.
Arkansas and upset. Okay, Vanderbilt, Kentucky.
Well,
at Kentucky,
line 17.5, and my understanding is a lot of flu going around Vanderbilt right now. Maybe half of them are not even going to play. You were in trouble up in Lexington anyway. I see Kentucky big.
Yeah, Kentucky's going
41-14.
Yeah,
it's going to be bad.
They'll hang 50 on them. All right, Alabama, Ole Miss, big SEC West game at Mississippi.
Can you imagine how angry Coach Saban is?
Yes. They've got 2 losses now.
Yeah.
But Mississippi can if they can beat Alabama, they're in control of the West.
Yes.
So they're setting themselves up for an SEC championship here at home. It's going to be an interesting game.
Yeah, Nick's mad. I'm sorry, Nick's mad.
Are you going with St. Nick?
I'm going with St. Nick on this one. I just think his head might spin off or something. Something happened here today.
I'm gonna pick Mississippi.
Good.
I mean, it's just something.
It's at the Grove.
Yeah, it is.
Lane Kiffin can move the football.
Yes, he can. Can he stop Alabama?
That's
the
the question.
That's
this game may be 42-41. I don't know.
It could be, or it could be 10-6.
No,
You never know.
They're going to be some
All right.
points in this.
All right, you never know. I thought the Alabama-Georgia game would be a lot higher scoring too, but that's a different ball game though. South Carolina at Florida. This is an interesting matchup. Florida. South Carolina has played good and bad this year. You don't know which team's going to show up. If Radler comes in rattling, he could cause some problems.
He could cause some problems.
But I'm like you. I'm taking Florida in the swamp. I think the Florida program is on the upswing at this point.
He's a good coach. Napier is a good coach.
He is, and
he's going to recruit well.
Yes.
And they need some stability there too.
Yeah. I'm going with Florida on that. Georgia, Mississippi State. Is there an upset brewing here at Mississippi State?
The line's 16.5. I'm not going to predict the upset, but I will say Mississippi State's going to cover.
I have seen Georgia this year. I've noticed that when they're a big favorite, they let up a little bit. They don't
This
play.
is a night game in Starkville with the Cowbells.
Yeah, the Cowbells drive me crazy.
And I mean, there's some talent. Those receivers, I keep saying this every week, but those receivers at Mississippi State aren't a joke. Georgia wins, but it's not going to be in a blowout.
Yeah, I'm going to say 4 to 6 point win.
I agree with you.
All right. Texas A&M at Auburn. A&M is back on the upswing.
The bad vibe game.
Auburn. Yeah, so
they got Cadillac Williams had him fired up a little bit more.
Yeah, he did. You never know when you have that coaching change in the middle of the year. Sometimes you see a team just cave in and just go away. But Auburn has flexed their back a little bit, and they played better last week. But
too much talent.
Too
much talent on all.
Texas A&M in a blowout.
You got to go back to all the players they lost to the transfer portal last year before the coaching change. They lost 22, 23, 24 kids.
Yeah,
they just left the program, and that's hard to come up with. Then they had a bad recruiting class where A&M had the #1 class in America. That's not really panned out, but they had the #1 class.
So are you seeing Texas A&M in a blowout here?
Yep.
Yeah. Okay. Tennessee, Missouri. At Tennessee.
I wouldn't want to be Missouri today.
You wouldn't?
No.
Why?
Coach Heupel, and I'm telling you, it's senior day. It's the last home game.
Yeah.
I see Tennessee hanging up 50+ on Missouri, and I don't know if Missouri scored much.
I tell you, though, something about this game makes me nervous. I guess it's because of thinking on past seasons and the history of Tennessee in the last 15 years, losing those games that they should win.
Right.
It bothers me. I'm still we have a game against a team like that. We've been blowing them out. And there's something that's still just kind of in the back of my mind that says, is this the one?
When Josh Heupel, since he's been the coach at Tennessee, is supposed to beat somebody, he beats them.
Yeah.
And he beats them bad.
I'm almost sold to where I can sleep at night.
Now, go back to last week's game.
Yeah.
7 false starts.
Yeah.
That killed you. And Hooker had picked the one game to have a horrible game there. I would love to see Tennessee and Georgia one more time in the playoff in the first round, even in Atlanta.
Yeah, that could happen.
It could happen the way things are setting up.
Let's look at the game we were talking about earlier. I'm picking Tennessee also, but I think it's going to be closer. I think Missouri.
I do not. Line's 19.5, and Tennessee's going to cover it easily.
You think
They're
so?
Beat them by 30.
All right. I hope you're right, but something about that.
You're going to see Air Milton today, guys. He's going to be in
Air
Milton. Air Milton's going to be in the third quarter. This thing's going to be out of hand.
Is he going to win the Heisman today? Is that what's going to happen?
I think Hooker. I think his Heisman now. I think it took a blow in that Georgia game. I'm not saying he's not. He couldn't win it.
Yeah. Well, if he finishes strong and hangs
he's
up
got
50
to finish strong at 50 every game because that one game could hurt him a bit.
Okay, so we're picking Tennessee in a blowout. All right, let's talk about national implications. We've got Georgia, Michigan, Ohio State in the showdown the weekend of Thanksgiving, and then we have TCU playing Texas today. What do you think happens there? Because
Texas is favored by 7, which is unusual because they're the number 18.
Right.
Even though they're at home, you got the number 4 team and the number 18 team, and the number 18 team's favored by 7.
Yeah,
that's odd.
Yeah,
that's a lot of points.
I think it's right.
I tend to agree.
I think Texas is fixing
TCU offensively is much better than they've been. However, the defense they can't play defense.
Yeah, they haven't played a real challenge to their defense. They've been able to outscore people.
That's right, 34-31. They're going to be in trouble with Texas.
Stopped anybody.
So then Tennessee's at 5. The progression would be we win, go to 4.
Mm-hmm.
And then you know that Ohio State, Michigan, one of them's going to lose.
Michigan's going to win that game. I'm predicting Michigan over Ohio State on that game down the road.
Then potentially you would have Tennessee at 3.
And then
And playing a Big
4?
Ten team, the 4 team would play Georgia.
Who would be the 4 team at that point?
That's a good question.
The 4 team could beat Mississippi if they beat Alabama today,
It could.
and then go to the playoffs, go to the SEC championship and beat Georgia. But that's a tough task to beat those 2. I don't think Mississippi can do that. But this is going to be interesting to watch this TCU Texas game.
Yes.
And I
do think one thing you got to watch out for here: if Texas doesn't get them, who's going to get them?
That's it.
They might could go all the way to their title game undefeated if they win. But I don't think they'll beat Texas.
I think Texas is going to beat them. And
talk about a nice job coaching to have gone into that dumpster fire. He inherited Sarkisian.
Yes.
And he's got the Manning kid coming now,
Yes.
quarterback,
Yes.
and the other quarterback he's got. He's done a really nice job down there.
Yeah, this is going to be a good game, and I think it's going to be a big win for the Texas program because that's going to give them a little shot in the arm. Now, Bill, let's back up to July the 15th, all right, of this year. If I come up to you on that day and said, Bill, Tennessee is going to be in the national playoff this year.
I never believed it. Now, I thought 8 wins was going to be a great year.
Yeah, I did too.
Maybe 9 if it would have been a wonderful year.
9-3 would have been fantastic. And
You're
every
looking
volunteer.
at 11-1.
Yeah, it's crazy.
And you might be better off in a scenario that if you had to lose to Georgia and not have to play that SEC title game. At some point when we expand the playoff, don't we need to do away with the title game? What purpose is it serving at this point?
Most SEC team wants to win an SEC championship or at least get there. But if you're there, you're potentially in national championship.
Wild risk injury, wild
risk of loss.
Or loss.
If there wasn't an SEC championship, the SEC could possibly have 3 teams in the final four.
The conference is hurting itself with this.
Right.
Not to mention, think of the strain on these boys when we go to a 12. I don't like the 12-team playoff. 8 would have been fine. 12's too many.
Yeah.
And then you've got these title games on top of it. So with a title game and then a 12-team playoff, you've added 4 more games on top of the extra game we've already added now because we're at 12 games in the regular season.
I think the conversation is talking about rolling back to 11.
That's what they should do.
Yeah, to get those numbers.
And I don't see any need in a conference championship game once the playoffs expand.
Right. It's just an added game.
But as long as they can get the checks and the money, that's probably what they're going to do.
It is. It's about money. But interesting stuff happening in college football today. Eyes will be on the TCU Texas game, and of course, we'll be watching the Alabama Ole Miss game in the West. Those are the critical games we've got. Let's change gears now, and I know you've been giving us a little bit of information on about Sundays.
Yep.
Titans had a tough loss at Kansas City. Could have very easily won that game. I think injury bug has bit them. I think if Tannehill's in that game, we're probably going to win.
And this is the one thing I don't understand. Again, the first half, pretty good game plan.
Yeah.
Moving football.
Yeah.
And then the second half, you go away from it.
I know.
And I do not understand it. And to me,
was it because most of our penalties that you were mentioning, the pre-snap penalties, was getting us behind the chains and we were afraid to run it and said, well, we got to pass it now? Is that what it was?
But when he's passing it, let's do things that he does well.
Yeah.
How about screens? Little short things.
Didn't see a screen
Didn't
all night.
see a screen one. You didn't see a slant. You didn't see many bootlegs like you would have thought.
Yeah.
Everything should have been designed and placated around what he does well.
Who's your best 2 playmakers on the offense with the injuries like they are right now? Who are the 2 that would you name?
It's Jerry Henry, and I want to say Hilliard.
Exactly.
Hilliard. And you put them both in the backfield. And when you start blitzing me, I've got a screen here or a screen here.
Yeah, and you get it in open space to those guys. They're going to make something happen.
Hilliard or Henry can go 80 yards like that.
Well, there must be a reason they did not do that. I don't know what it could possibly be because I really like to see wins, and I know they want to win ball games. But
defensively, the Titans played great.
Oh, man, they kept us in that game all night.
But I've never seen somebody get 3 chances at a 2-point conversion. People, Kelsey tears his helmet off, and they don't call nothing.
I know.
Throws the helmet. Then there's one play where they call holding. They rip our guy's helmet off, and there are penalties on us.
All right, so what do we got going on this week?
This week,
we're playing
Denver. Big Jeff's out. He's in walking boot. He's not going to play on Monty Cook, or you're going to miss him.
Okay.
That's a big loss. And we've got some, hopefully, I'm hoping that Burks is back. Okay. I believe Tannehill's back.
What's the status on Kyle Phillips?
He's got a week or two away, supposedly.
Okay, so he was early the first 3 games. He was the go-to receiver for Tannehill.
Yes.
For some reason, they just meshed somehow.
And then the punt fiasco happened where he botched some punts and he got himself hurt.
Right.
But,
well, I mean, he's a rookie. I think you got to give him a chance because he was making some big catches.
There's some other big injuries in this game. The Broncos center's out, and they have several in the offensive line out. I think it's a Tierre Tart game. I think he's going to be a big name for Tennessee.
Well, he's been playing good.
Tierre plays well.
Yeah, he does.
But Dupree's out again.
Yeah.
At some point, we paid him an awful lot of money. He's going to have to start playing.
Yeah.
He misses too many games.
Yeah,
and that may be something in the offseason where you sit here and say, once you've paid Big Jeff, you've also paid Harold Landry and Dupree. That's too much money for it to have somebody not playing.
Let's think about the injury situation. The whole NFL is just an injury-riddled league. I mean, and I know.
Then they go back to the collective bargaining agreement where they basically neutered what you could do in the off season, and they shortened all. And I think these guys are coming in not in shape.
Well, that's the way it appears.
It sure looks that way because your injuries are way up.
Not as in shape as they used to be.
Mandatory this, you
go back
voluntary that.
Go back 30 years. How many ball games did Walter Payton set out? I mean, he didn't miss. I don't think he missed a game, maybe once in his whole career. And you saw Dick Buckets play with a broke arm.
Those days are
over. Those days are over. Yeah, just keep playing.
Steve McNair
just played with a broken rib cage.
Broken ribs, and he played.
So has the league gotten softer?
Yes.
Or are they just applying too much?
Society's gotten
gotten softer. All right, I'm going to agree with that.
I think it's a societal thing.
Let's take a break now, and we're going to come back and wrap the show up today. Guys, thanks for watching out there. And always remember, we want to hear from you. If you have any comments or any predictions you want to throw at us, please do that. But right now, I'm going to stop, and we're going to listen to another word from our sponsor, and we'll be right back.
This land is very spiritual. My ancestors have lived on this land for thousands of years. We have like 7 months of winter. It's just like another day for us having whiteout conditions. It blows 50, 60 mile an hour year round here. You have to be tough, you have to be gritty, no matter what it is doing outside. You have to saddle your horse and get the job done. It's just tough. Tough country calls for tough people, and that's what the Blackfeet people are. We're tough.
Ariat products are available at the Winter Circle at 603 Evans Street in Shelbyville.
Okay, welcome back in here. We're going to wind the show up, but before we do, let's talk about Green Bay since our cohort's up there. Mr. Kenny and his family are.
I believe David's up there too.
Yeah, David's there, and they're going to go up and watch the Green Bay Packers play. Who they play? Dallas?
They got Dallas this afternoon on Channel 17. It's the late game. Dallas is favored by 5. And then Green Bay plays on Thursday Night Football against the Tennessee Titans in Lambeau. And the Parker family's going to get to go watch both ball games.
Go watch both of them. So that we need some sort of souvenir.
Ask you your thoughts on this, though. Those Thursday night games are awful. Yeah. Have you noticed that?
Yeah, every game is pitiful.
Every one of them, even if the teams are good, it's bad football.
I know it. It's just.
Is it the day's rest? Is it the short rest? Is it what's that? Maybe we need to rethink that one.
No, it's this bad vibe stuff that you keep talking about.
I mean, it's it's like every time Thursday night, I'm like, I'm excited. Oh, it's Thursday night football, and it's 13-10. It's 16-13.
Hey, I'd rather turn over and watch a college game.
But you can't because you got to stream this thing on Amazon to watch the darn game.
I know.
But the Titans will be on Thursday Night Football against the Green Bay Packers this week for our one Thursday night game of the year. A couple other interesting games tonight. There's the Chargers and the 49ers. I think will be a pretty good ball game. That's Sunday Night Football. The 49ers have got stuff rolling right now. The Chargers got a lot of injuries. And that ought to be a good ball game as well.
Yeah, I thought preseason wise, when things were rolling the way the season ended, I thought the Chargers were going to be the team to beat in the West.
And I wonder if Herbert's not hurt more.
He could be.
There's something's not. He doesn't look the same, and all his receivers have been out.
Yeah,
but he's not throwing the football the way he did. I don't know if those ribs or what it is.
Last year in that Las Vegas game, the Raiders and Chargers, that was one of the best football games of last year. If you go back and look at the last 4 minutes,
well, and honestly, they had Kansas City beat both times, and the coach did terrible calls and cost them 2 games by his analytics. Well, and in the morning it'll be cold, y'all. But at 8:30, remember the NFL Network. It's Seattle and Tampa Bay in Germany.
Right. So
and it's not streamed this time; it's on NFL Network. So you can watch that in the morning.
Right. All right.
Full day of football.
Yes, it is. Let's mention this. We've got high school basketball kicking up this week. I know most teams start their regular season. And we're going to have some reports from the local high school basketball programs. I think Dan Reed might come on, or at least he's going to give us an update and just kind of a highlight of what's going on with the girls and boys.
We're trying to get old Coach Robbie Davis come on here with us.
Yeah, it'd be great.
Robbie, come on.
But we'd like to hear from our coaches, and we want to get out and support those kids as they get out and start their season. Well, that's it for today, Bill. You got anything you need to add? Any words of wisdom?
I'm just hopeful that the Titans do win Sunday.
All right, well.
But short week coming up with Big Jeff missing. I'm worried he's going to miss Thursday too.
He could. But it's going to be interesting to watch. Great football today.
Russell Wilson's not looked good.
No, he hasn't. No.
I don't know what.
I'm not worried about Russell.
I'm not worried about Russell.
It's not.
He's not cooking.
It's not him. He's not in a good environment for
There's
him.
something in that. There's something not right there.
All right, guys. Thanks for watching, and we'll be back next week. Kenny will be back with us, hopefully, and give us a Green Bay Lambeau report.
We need a souvenir, Kenny.
Yep. If you're
Something.
watching, Kenny, we need something pretty major.
We really do.
If you skip out on us like this, you owe us big time, man.
Yeah, bring us back something cool we can't get around here.
Yeah. Guys, thanks for watching. We'll be back again next week with another edition of Shelbyville NOW Sports Live. Until then, have a good week.